Yo guys, what's up? It's Blackheart here and welcome to a new video. So today we have a lot of interesting news given by Harada himself that I would like to discuss with you guys because this thing he tweeted today a lot of things that I would like to read that regard basically the future of this game. So basically he shows us some interesting backlining of some of the things that happen in this community since probably the last 2 years or something like this. So I would be very interesting to read this with you guys. So basically there was this tweet by Dengojin, I think, that said basically that there was a new head of the balance team but Harada actually said, you know, it's actually not true, and let's try to see what happened here. So basically he said that the direction of this patch update the last patch update was led by Nakatsu Ikeda. So the last patch, the last patch we got in this month, basically, you know, the ones that was actually finally a good patch. At the same time, the other director you mentioned, the Yasuki Nakabayashi, was also deeply involved in directing it. Mishima Star as well. The reality is that they spent the past year working towards this release, and this update became the final work they delivered before leaving the company. So this is a huge news we have. Basically everybody left. Oh my god. Nakabayashi left. Mishima Star left. Ikeda left. Harada left. Who the fuck is left? At the Bandai Namco, who the fuck is left? This is actually very concerning if you ask me, because like who do we have to ask for now for balance? Like, what is happening to this game now? Okay, there's gonna be a lot of new releases now. Who will be the next lead director for this, for the balance and for everything? They didn't give us any details about that, but let's keep reading. I also see a variety of speculation analysis from the community. Unfortunately, most of it is not accurate. In fact, the directors whose names you mentioned, including Yasuki Nakabayashi, have already left the project and begun new journeys on their own. So also Nakabayashi has left. Mishima Star has left. Everybody has left. There are also a small number of people who explain things based on their supposed knowledge of the game industry. Unfortunately, most of these explanations are not accurate either. It is simply a factual clarification and nothing more, nothing beyond that. So basically, he's clarifying some of these points. Let's see. I recently considered changing my... no, but this is something personal. Okay. So basically here he's saying that basically he still stands by the community, of course, and... you know, he still thinks about us a lot. So basically that's very cute by him. So he acknowledges he has still a lot of touch with the community, not like someone else, right? Not like someone else. So yeah, he's not like, of course, blaming the community like everybody else, but he's just stating the facts and what we know so far by now. So basically what we know is that they worked on the last patches. Also, someone said, so it takes a year to release a tiny borderline insignificant patch. By the way, this is partially incorrect because it was not an insignificant patch. The last two patches were very good and full of nice content, full of nice changes, full of nice balancing adjustments. So it's wrong to say insignificant, but they could do more, of course. They could do much more to balance the game out. But let's see. So he answers this. The restructuring happened a year ago. That does not mean that this particular update took an entire year to develop. Okay, so basically these particular patches were probably made in some months, but probably the people behind that were already leaving a year ago. Probably after season 2. Honestly, guys, after the season 2 fiasco, probably they said, you know what, we're gonna fucking dip out. Because this is not it. Probably, I don't know. I don't know why they left. Of course, no one knows, but... yeah, but it's certainly not because of the community only. Come on, you just be the one that says something like this is only pretentious. Come on. So even though I said that the work on this update began last year, that does not mean it started exactly 1 year ago. As I mentioned before, this update is simply one of the main updates and pieces of additional content that Nakatsu and Nakabayashi have been continuously working on in parallel. Some of them may have started as early as December of last year, while others likely began development in January or February of this year. So basically, again, not like a long ago. Some people looked at the timing of Nakatsu's and Nakabayashi departures and started making the rather strange assumption that Nakatsu had nothing to do with this update. So I added a clarification that they did in fact work on the final update before leaving the company. So basically here it's saying that it's not true that the last patches are good because of Nakatsu leaving. So on this I can say, okay, that's interesting, of course. But really, now what I think is, okay, now we're saying all of this, but the future is the future of this game is what now? Again, since all of these people have left, they were basically on some of the main like people that were working on the game. Now there still is the Tekken team, and okay, but who's gonna work on the balance now? Like, they did a terrible job with Season 2, a terrible job with Season 1. Season 3 started off pretty bad as well, not like the best ever. And then they finally did good patches now, 2 good patches now. But after now, like, let's say this is the content we have now. And now, that's what I'm really concerned for. And I would like to have more clarification by him or someone in the community. But of course, we still don't know anything, basically. More importantly, some people seem eager to pick out individual developers by name and build narratives, assumptions, or judgments around them. That is not really the right way to look at game development. Games are made by teams. Rather than focusing on specific individuals, I would appreciate if people evaluated the team as a whole. On this, I can say, okay, I can understand, but probably on this, I would have something to say personally. That's my opinion. Like, if you are the face of the community, if you put yourself as being the face of the community, and so that is the case with Harada, with Nakatsu, with Murray, and you put yourself like the head of the communication, because you don't have a community manager, Harada. Tekken team, you don't have a community manager, so we have to speak up to somebody. And we cannot speak to no names. We don't know who's working on the balance, except for you. You are the main vocal people that work around these things. So if I don't know who I have to talk to, what do I do? Don't I talk a lot? Of course, I see you as the scapegoats, like the people that are responsible for this, because you're the head of development, of, I don't know, balancing and so on. Who do I have to talk to otherwise? So I get this point, of course, don't get me wrong. I get the point that, of course, there is a whole team that works on these things. But without someone to refer to, without a community manager, without someone to refer to, what are we supposed to do? Of course, for example, of course we get angry at Ikeda. Of course we get angry at Murray, because they are the symbol. They put ourselves in the public saying we want to do this, we want to do that, or even Harada himself. We want, for example, in Season 2, why did we get angry at them? Because they were the one that said, for example, I don't know, we are focusing on defense, we are focusing on that, we want to do that, and then they delivered the complete opposite. Of course, again, it's not only their fault, but again, they're the main perpetrators of this. You know what I mean? So on this, I can say, okay, but, you know, okay. And by the way, speaking of, for example, of individual and so on, at least Harada and Ikeda had always been very respectful towards their community, especially when the community got angry, because they understood, okay, maybe we fucked up and we did not exceed their expectations, and so we're gonna try to do better. And again, that's what, for example, Ikeda said multiple times in his posts, and also Harada has apologized. The only one that didn't apologize, and not only he didn't apologize, but also blamed the community itself, is fucking Murray. And that's why, I'm sorry, we are so angry towards him. Because he's like constantly bashing the people that are supposed to support him. So he's constantly distancing himself from the community he wants to build for his own. So basically, that's what I wanted to say on this piece. I also pointed out that many of the assumptions and conclusions people reach are, frankly, quite far off the mark. Depending on the topic, a surprising amount of the speculation I see is simply inaccurate. Before posting conclusions based on assumptions, it is worth taking a moment to think them through. Okay, that's basically what he said before as well. That is essentially what my previous post was explaining. So yeah, basically, again, he basically saying that all of what happened is because of multiple reasons, and don't only blame us. okay, I guess. Okay, but with some reserve, I would say. Also, well, we already have one person doing exactly that, making comments based on assumptions and their own interpretations of things I never even mentioned, keywords I never brought up, and things I never actually said. That was exactly the point I was making. This kind of speculation tends to be completely off the mark, so let's try to avoid it. Still, most people seem to have understood what I meant not correctly, so I suppose it's fine. My bad. It's basically a little clarification on this, and that's all. Basically, that's what he said today. So, okay, so basically he gave us a lot of these news that are actually a little bit concerning, not gonna lie. Because again, now I don't know what happens next for the Tekken team. Of course, again, I hope the best. And I hope that whoever comes next, because again, basically all the people that we knew were working on the game are gone now. So I don't know who's working on the game now. And nobody knows. Nobody knows. Hopefully it's someone new. It's someone good that does well for the community. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. Hopefully we will have announcements or like, I don't know, news on who's working on Tekken team now and so on. And I don't know. Let me know, guys, what you guys think, okay? See you guys very soon again. Take care and love you. Bye.